today we're going to be going over combining rational numbers with like and unlike denominators. And we're also going to add another little facet to that, which is when we have mixed numbers involved. So today's activity is called Chef G's Fractional Soup. I redid the little activity that was the integer soup activity, and I've made it into fractions or rational number soup. So let's go over around the world. Now, I got to do this with my pre-AP class Tuesday, and I didn't go over it yesterday, but we are going to go over it today because you'll be using it in some of your recipe fractions today. So you remember around the world, but maybe you don't remember exactly how to do it. So let's start with this. So if we have 2 1/4 plus negative 3 3/8. You can do this with whole numbers and fractions, but it's probably going to be easiest if you'll go ahead and convert it to improper fractions. So let's do that. So what do I mean by around the world? I mean that you're going to do 2 times 4 and then plus 1. So 4 times 2 is 8, and then 8 plus 1 is 9, and you keep the denominator. Bring your plus sign down. Now, we're going to go ahead and bring this sign down, and we're going to go around the world with this. 8 times 3 is 24. 24 plus 3 is 27. And again, keep your original denominator. Now we can follow our regular steps. Do I have the same denominator? I don't, but I do easily see that all I'll have to do is convert this one because 4 times 2 is 8, and I've already got a denominator of 8 over here. So 4 times 2 is 8, and then whatever you do to the bottom, you do to the top also. So let's convert this. 4 times 2 is 8. 9 times 2 is 18. Bring down your plus sign, and I don't have to do anything to this one because it's already got that denominator of 8. So I'm just going to bring it down. Now, I know that this is positive because there's nothing in front of it. Now, if I check my denominators, I see that they're the same. So Red Rover, bring that 8 right over. We're just going to move it over. Remember, you never ever add or subtract your denominators. Now, I can check my signs. I have a positive and I have a negative. And that means that I am going to subtract. So I don't know that off the top of my head, so I'm going to do 27 minus 18, just right over here to the side. Don't be ashamed. I have to do it too sometimes. So that becomes 17 minus 8 would be 9, and then it's just 9. So 9 goes on top here. Then I have to check to see what my sign would be. It's going to be negative. Now I see that it's still an improper fraction, so I'm going to divide 9 by 8. 8 will go into 9 one time. When I subtract, I get 1 1/8. So that is my new answer. Don't forget to bring your negative sign over. Negative 1 1/8 is your final answer. I don't think this will be a big deal because I think you'll remember how to do around the world, but just remember you multiply the bottom, add the top. Let's do another one. Let's do 2 plus positive 3 6/9. I did this to show you that this is a whole number, and we can do a whole number as a fraction by simply putting it over 1. So 2 over 1 is the same thing as just 2. Bring the rest of your problem down. Now I need to convert this. I need to bring my sign with it. I need to convert this to an improper fraction. So 3 times 9 is 27, and 27 plus 6, I don't know what that is, so I'm going to do 27 plus 6. 7 plus 6 is 13, so 33 over 9. Remember, you keep the same denominator. Now I can follow my rules as usual. I don't have a common denominator, so I have to find a common denominator. I know that 1 times 9 is 9, and I have to do the same thing to the top. So 9 times 1 is 9, and 9 times 2 is 18. This one already has the common denominator of 9, so I'm just going to bring it straight down. Now I can check my signs. I know that this one is positive and this one is positive. Signs are the same, which means I'm going to add. Go ahead and bring your common denominator over. 18 plus 33. 8 plus 3 is 11. 3, 4, 5. So it's equal to 51 over 9. Now I have an improper fraction and I need to convert it. So 51 divided by 9. 9 will go into 51 5 times. 9 times 5 is 45. 11 minus 5 is 6, and 4 minus 4 is 0. 6 is less than 9, so I'm left with 5 and 6/9. And I know that both 6 and 9 are divisible by 3. So I'm going to be left with 5 and 2/3. And I look back over here, my answer is positive. So my final answer is positive 5 and 2/3. We kind of ran out of room on that one. So let's do one more, and I think you'll be fine. And they're not all with mixed numbers. I just wanted you to see mixed numbers before you do your Chef G's fractional soup activity. So let's say we have negative 5/8 minus negative 2 1/2. So we need to go ahead and convert this to an improper fraction first. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 plus 1 is 5. Keep the original denominator. Bring your signs down. Now that looks more like what we're used to seeing. Now we don't have the same denominator, so we have to find a common denominator, and I'm going to choose 8. So I only need to convert this one. 2 times 4 is 8. Whatever I do to the bottom, I do to the top. So 2 times 4 is 8, and 5 times 4 is 20. Make sure you bring the sign with it, and just bring the rest on down. Now, I have the same denominator, which means I can just bring it on over. My second rule is to check to see if it's adding. This is not adding, so I need to change it to the opposite. The opposite of subtraction is to add, and the opposite of your negative is a positive. Now I can check my signs. I have a negative and a positive, which are different, which means I'm going to subtract. So 20 minus 5 is 15. And I keep the sign of my largest absolute value, which is positive. Now I have an improper fraction, which means I need to simplify it by dividing. So 15 divided by 8. 8 will go into 15 one time. And 15 minus 8 is 7. 7 is less than 8, so that means it's my remainder, 7/8. So my answer is positive 1 7/8. Okay, I think y'all are going to be fine with this around the world. So I am ready to show you how to do your chef's amazing fractional soup. Let me get this out of the way. Okay, so these are not the same problems that you have. I just wanted to be able to show you how to do it. So it says Chef G is making her easy vegetable beef soup. She is adjusting her recipe as she goes. Can you help her figure out how much of each item she needs? So just like last time, you're going to write your own equation and then find the answer. So this says Chef G started by adding 1/4 of a cup of black-eyed peas. So I know that I can't make my fractions on top of each other. It's going to look like this. So yours will too. So I'm going to go over here and it says that I have 1/4 of a cup and it's positive because it didn't say it was negative. Positive 1/4. It says I added 1/4 a cup of black-eyed peas, but now she needs to add 2/8 of a cup more. So I know that that is adding because I'm adding more, and that is going to be a positive 2/8 of a cup. I'm going to make that bigger so we can see it. And I don't know why sometimes it makes your fraction smaller and sometimes it makes it bigger. I don't know why it does that, but just go with it. Okay, so now I would come to my paper and I would write my equation. I would write positive 1/4 plus positive 2/8 equals. I know I'm going to need a common denominator, so I know that 4 times 2 is 8. So I'm going to do that, and whatever I do to the bottom, I do to the top. So 2 times 1 is 2, and 2 times 4 is 8. Bring the rest of it down. Now I have my common denominator, so I'm going to bring it over, and I'm going to check my signs. They are both positive, so I'm going to add. 2 plus 2 is 4, and my largest absolute value is positive, so my answer is positive. So now I have 4/8. I see that they are both divisible by 4, which means it will reduce to positive 1/2. So my answer is positive 1/2. So that's what I'm going to put, positive 1/2. Try to get the lowest possible answer you can get, and I'll try to fix y'all's boxes so it'll be big to begin with before y'all do this activity. Okay, so let's see what the next one is. Let's do one where we subtract. Okay, so here's one where we subtract. So it says Chef G started by adding 1 3/5 cup of potatoes. So that's going to be a positive 1 3/5. Positive 1 3/5. Now she needs to take out. So taking out means I'm going to subtract 2/15 of a cup minus 2/15. Let me make that bigger so you can see it. And again, I don't know why sometimes it makes it small and sometimes it's big. Okay, so now I would go to my paper And I would write positive 1 3/5 minus positive 2/15. And I didn't put my parentheses, so I'm going to go back and do that. Okay, so I'm going to come to my paper. So I did 1 3/5 minus positive 2/15. I see that I have a mixed number here, which means I need to go ahead and do around the world and convert it to an improper fraction. 5 times 1 is 5. 5 plus 3 is 8. So it's going to be positive 8/5. Remember, you keep the same denominator. Bring down the rest of your problem. Now I can go about business as usual. Do I have a common denominator? I don't. So I need to find one. I'm going to use 15. So 5 times 3 is 15, and whatever I do to the bottom, I do to the top. So 3 times 8 is 24, and 3 times 5 is 15, and it's positive. Bring down the rest of my question. Now I do have the same denominator, so I'm going to bring it right on over. And I need to check to see if I'm adding. Am I adding? I'm not, so I have to do the opposite. So this becomes plus, and if that becomes plus, then this has to become minus. So I'm going to make that a minus 2. Now it is adding, so I can compare my signs. They're different, which means I'm going to subtract. So 24 minus 2 is 22. And you keep the sign of the largest absolute value, which is positive. Now I'm left with an improper fraction, so I have to simplify it. 22 divided by 15. 15 will go into 22 one time. I subtract, and I get 7. That's less than 15, so that becomes my remainder of 7/15. So my final answer is positive 1 7/15. Positive 1 7/15. So I would go back over here and put my answer in. Positive 1 7/15. Like I said, I'll make y'all's bigger before I'll go ahead and format those text boxes to make it a big number. Okay, that's what I want you to do. Make sure you submit this, and there may be an activity for you to get bonus points to do. Don't worry, it doesn't involve fractions. It's cans of different kinds of vegetables, and Kiefer made that video. I recorded for him because he loves to make vegetable beef soup. So if you ask your mom or dad or whoever the adult is in your house if it's okay for you to cook, that would be a great meal, especially for these cooler days we're having. And I hope you enjoy it and maybe learn a life skill at the same time. Have a great day. Bye-bye.